moving, or I don't know.
All right. Okay, we should be. Okay, we are live now on the new link. All right.
Perfect.
Okay, guys.
I'm in.
I figured out the problem. Let me see. Okay, let me go to let me open this up. Okay, guys, hold on. Now, go ahead and speak now, Yasmin. People should hear you now.
Perfect.
There you
I'm just
go.
going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jazmen Jafar. For those of you that don't know me, I am the OnlyFans lawyer. I do OnlyFans, and I'm also a licensed attorney. So I kind of quit my day-to-day job at my firm in order to pursue OnlyFans full time. And yeah, I am trying to expand my content a little bit beyond OnlyFans, but OnlyFans is still primarily what I do.
Okay, great. They heard everything. You guys heard all of that, right? She sounds great. Okay, cool. So,
Perfect.
let's see. Hold on a second. Let me. All right. So, guys, that was my fault, and I knew it was. You know, what I'm saying, because she did a real good job on her end. So I knew everything was my fault. So I was like, something I'm doing wrong. So when we hung up, I was like, oh, I didn't put the speaker through because I'm using this. I got two webcams so she can see me. Normally I don't do that, but we have Yasmin here, and I wanted her to see me and everything like that while I'm talking. So just since it's their first time, and that's what threw me off. So there's an echo on my mic. Okay, hold on a second. I know what's going on. Let me see. Mm. So that wasn't me. That was you. Okay, so that was Sun Dormant. Okay, so I sound great and you guys sound great, right? Okay, all right. So all right, dag on it.
Everything's great on my
All right,
end.
great. Yeah. All right. So I sound great, right? Sun Dormant must be drunk, right? Okay, thank you, AS. Thomas.
I
So there's
hate
a
that when there's like one comment or like a comment that's like, "What happened to your Reddit page?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, did they delete me?" And then it's still
yeah,
there. I'm
yeah.
like,
You
"Fuck
know
you."
what? Yeah, these people, sometimes they're retarded, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they eat too much lead paint chips, and so you just gotta ignore it sometimes. All right, great. So they can hear me. They can hear you. So once again, I want to thank you for coming by. So you were highly recommended to come by. And like I said, I told you before we were behind the stage. I said I looked at your interviews. I didn't look at any of the debates. We did see your fresh and fit debate because that's how people
Okay.
introduced you to me. So basically, let's start off with the boring stuff a little bit first because everybody's going to want to know your backstory. So tell us who you are, where you come from, and how you got started, like the short version of how you got started in OF.
Yeah, yeah. So just giving you like the Spark Notes version.
Yeah.
I am now 29. I was born to two immigrant parents from Iran. I was born in the States. I was born in Oregon, and they had like, the typical, if anyone in the audience is from a Middle Eastern background, or I know other cultures are similar in this way, they have really rigid academic expectations on us. They're pretty conservative when it comes to topics like sexuality. And so they were doing the traditional, all right, doctor, lawyer, engineer, what do you want to do? My mom's a lawyer, my dad's an engineer. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll be a lawyer. I could work with my mom. So I did. I always did really well in school, got a full ride to a great law school, went in, and law school's 3 years. And the whole time I was like, I don't want to like work. Like I liked school. I liked learning. I'm a very intellectually curious person, but I was like every day just waking up and going to this job and, you know, billing my hours in 6 minute increments, which is what lawyers do. I was like, is there any way out of this? And I was like, I don't think so. I think this is just life. You're just being spoiled, which partly might be true. But I was like, this is what I guess we're doing. And then COVID kind of hit in the middle of my law school time. And so we were online. I was taking the bar. And while I was taking the bar, and I had heard of OnlyFans, I had no social media, guys. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
an Instagram. I didn't have anything. And I was like, oh, OnlyFans is cool, but like I can't do it because I don't even know how to use social media. And then one of my friends had like a little page and she's like, oh, use Reddit. And I was like, what? I barely knew what Reddit was, but I'm like, okay. I actually wanted these pair of shoes that my parents weren't going to buy for me because at that time I was a student, so my parents were supporting me. And So I was like, let me just try this, whatever. I'm bored. I'm at home. I'm studying for the bar. Like, I'm probably not going to make any money. And like, I'm not even going to make the 600 that I need to report to that. And then it actually became kind of successful fairly quickly. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I passed the bar, started working,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing like a double life. And it was really weird, really interesting. Some days I would get really nervous about it, like people finding out. I was always worried whenever my boss would call me into, one of the partners would call me into her office. I was like, I don't know if she knows about my OnlyFans or she's mad that I'm not billing any hours. Like, I was just like,
I heard you say that before, and I'm going
yeah.
like, well, what made you get that paranoid? Because it's different for me versus when I was a professional domina versus you, because you were only doing Reddit to
Yeah.
advertise, right?
Exactly. I was only doing Reddit to advertise, but you never know, right?
Yeah,
And I knew that at least I knew I would get fired if they found out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And I didn't really like, I almost some days wanted to get fired because I didn't have the balls at the time to quit until a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I mean, I don't want to get fired, but like, it'd be so nice to not come in anymore. And then eventually I just was like, the only reason I'm still in this job, because I was making way more money doing online sex work, is just for appearances and
Mm-hmm.
just to please my family and society. So I decided to quit and then do OnlyFans full time. And I'm really happy with that decision.
Okay.
So that's like a quick little rundown.
Yeah. Great. And you and quickly, your parents weren't on board at first, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, you're closer to your dad than your mom, and
Yeah. I'm close to both, but I'm
to both.
definitely a daddy's girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're a daddy's girl. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so, how long? How like what was the time period? Because that's the only thing I couldn't understand. Like
Mm.
when they tried to be like, I'm not speaking to you, to the point where they broke down and decided to speak to you. What was the time frame for that? Because I never got that. I never got that answer by
Yeah.
looking
So I
at
told
by
them,
listening to the interview.
yeah, I told them pretty much. Well, I told my mom, and then both of my parents knew by the time I was finished with the bar, so like July,
Okay.
and they didn't speak to me all of September, and then or August, and then September. October is when I started working at my firm, and they both sent me a text like, "Oh my God, this is so great! Now you can like leave aside your nonsense job now, and you can do like real work and help people, like whatever." Like they were like, "Good, okay, it's over, right? Like you're gonna quit now. Like what are you doing? Like." Go work a real job. And so they were kind of like trickling in then, but I obviously was like, no, I'm still going to do both. And then eventually, I want to say like my birthday, which is in January, they both kind of contacted me and they realized like the silent treatment wasn't going to work and there was nothing they could do. And they're like, okay, we still love you. We obviously don't agree with this decision, but it's your life. And then since then, like now it's perfectly fine. They don't like to hear about it. We kind of have a don't ask, don't tell policy. But I think like they just are like, she's doing what she's going to do. And, my dad's actually visiting me now. He's probably making me dinner after this. We're all good.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the best.
for real? Okay, that's so
Now it's
cool.
just like, save your money, save your money. They don't even bring up the other shit anymore. So I won.
Well, speaking of money, like, how long do you see yourself doing this?
As long as y'all will have me, okay? Until my titties fall to my stomach, like I'm to my knees.
Girl,
Like I
don't
don't
even
know.
say that because you know that I have a fetish for that, okay?
Oh yeah, for sure. Every time I bring up like, oh, I'm gonna get a reduction one day, my fans like, I will die. Like, don't do that. I was like, okay. but, but yeah, I want to do it as long as I can, and I do want to expand and even do maybe something similar to like you're doing. I want to do like more YouTube and give my own like social political commentary. Just bring my interest to an audience that is also interested in the same things. So
So, what is your
I'm on this.
political leaning?
I would say I am center left libertarian on social issues, type of thing. I'm definitely not far leftist shit. Like I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hardcore like free speech advocate. I very much believe that people should pretty much do what they want as long as it doesn't harm other people, and that the government should stay out of those areas.
Okay, so when you say have the government stay out of those areas, that would bring you into the center, because like
Yeah,
the left loves government, where well, it looks like the right loves
far
government
left.
too, because
Yeah,
and let me tell you why I say that, because the right is now talking about using the government to make like getting divorce illegal, trying to take our rights away, like, so it's like
no
using
fault
more.
divorce,
Right,
etc. Yeah.
right, right. So right now it's such a blur against the lines. It's like, because the right was supposed to be less government, and now they're using the government in reference to abortion and all other kind of things, and it's like I can't tell the difference anymore. And of course,
Yeah,
the
so there's
right
like
is doing identity
authoritarian right
politics.
and authoritarian left, and I would say anyone that falls in the authoritarian life and the authoritarian left, they both want the power. And I think for a long time the right just didn't have the power
Right.
because the left was running, institutions, academia, media, social platforms. So the right was like, oh yeah, free speech, free speech. That's because they didn't have the power. And then we're seeing anytime they get the power, not everybody obviously, but then they use it the same way the left has used
Yeah,
it to
absolutely.
quash free speech, etc. Yeah.
Right, 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 right. Okay. Now, I've learned a lot by looking at a lot of interviews in reference to how much hard work you ladies have in reference to keeping up your OnlyFans page. So give us a glimpse of what you have to do, how you have to spread your content, and how much time do you spend on your page communicating to your what is it, subscribers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
subscribers, audience. I mean, you can use any word. I actually, so I don't know if you've heard of this in my other interviews. I'm very adamant about not hiring like an
Yeah,
agency
yeah.
or a
I
manager.
think
So I
that's
do it.
because they're paying to talk to you. Why have somebody from India or Asian, some kind of Asian country, do your work? That's just so stupid. Like
I
they're
feel like it's unethical. I
yeah, it
know the reason
is.
they
It
do it. The
is.
reason they do it is because you make more money because a lot of people are horny and they want a message right away. Like sometimes it takes me like 3 days. That's just what it is. So I'm losing money and I'm also spending more time. But to me, that
Wait a minute,
ethical
you're
component.
losing money by communicating to them personally because
Yeah,
it takes
because
you three
I'm one
days.
person. Yeah, once you get to like you have like I have a pretty large OnlyFans, which I'm really grateful for. But that means I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of messages a day. And if I don't have other people, like a lot of these agencies, what they promise you is 90-minute response time latest, which means that somebody's always there when these guys are hungry for content in order to fulfill that, which does bring in, instead of waiting 3 days or sometimes 2 days like I have to do. But to me, that ethical component is so important because I think it's literally like, I think you have to have a disclaimer, in my opinion, if you're going to have someone else
Yeah,
speak to
yeah,
you on
because
your
that's not what
behalf.
they
I
pay
think
for, right?
that's not what they pay for. And to me, that's fucked up. And I actually like my subscribers. And I think that we have a duty to them just as much as they have a duty to us. And so I want to like my job. And I'm not going to like my job if I feel like I'm making money unethically or I'm just trying to bleed people out as much money as possible. So because of that, I do spend a lot of time every day, like interacting, posting my own content. Then I get like promo stuff ready for my other platforms, which I do have my assistant like help with other platforms and answering messages there because it's not paid. So if you like
Yeah.
DM me on Reddit, you don't like I don't feel like I have to see it. But yeah, it can be a lot because you have to make content for your OnlyFans. Then you have to make longer form content for your OnlyFans to sell for like the extra good stuff. Then you have to make promo time of nude stuff for like Reddit, Twitter. Then you have to make like TikTok reel stuff for like, and so it's like different kind, but that one has to have clothes on and you have to follow different TOS. So you're operating on all these different platforms and different kinds of content do well on all of them because the big thing with OnlyFans is you're marketing yourself. They're not
Right.
marketing for you.
Right.
So you have to master as many other forms of social media as possible in order to funnel that traffic over to your page. So that can be very time
How do
consuming.
you funnel traffic from? Because I don't think you're allowed to put your link in TikTok, right?
No, you're not. So you have to link to your Instagram. Some people even put like whatever they can, like spice. They put like the spicy
Oh.
sign, spicy link on Instagram. You have to funnel it to your Instagram and then have like a beacons or something on your Instagram. And then they have to click on, yeah. So you're not, it's considered sexual solicitation on both Instagram and TikTok to have any direct link. I can't even on a Instagram story, like technically be like, oh, I'm going live on OnlyFans. Here's the link. They'll consider it solicitation.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. The internet has gotten a lot stricter with this stuff, especially since the passing of, I don't know if you know what Sesta Fosta is in
Yeah, I
2018.
do because I still have my, even though I'm retired, there's such a huge sisterhood that I developed with my, when I was pro doming, and
Yeah.
they were so angry when that passed because
Yeah.
it took away their voice, but it also made it made their lives little bit dangerous. I mean, it
Yeah.
put them in danger a lot, and my
Yeah. And
heart
if you
went
look
out
at,
to them, and I
yeah,
just, and at that time I supported Trump, right? So it was like I just was just sitting there just quiet because I didn't want them to come and
wanna
get mad at me.
Yeah, I mean, and now that it's been like 5 plus years, we've actually seen that it has made things more dangerous.
Yeah.
There's been more, and it doesn't affect people like me as much. I'm more privileged and but like the people that are the most vulnerable are the people that get affected the most. And I think one of the other really negative impacts of that is that it's chilled speech across all social media platforms,
Yes.
not just for sex workers, but for a lot of other types of content creators because the Section 230, basically platforms could avoid liability for what would happen on their platforms, which is a good thing because that they allow more speech when they do that. But then like even sex educators, their content was getting taken off because these platforms are like, oh, they are going to overact rather than under. So yeah, because of that, the internet's gotten more strict. Now I started in 2021, way after this,
Yeah, that was way after.
way
Yeah.
after this. But yeah, like platforms like TikTok and Instagram are really strict. Reddit is probably one of the only remaining, even though they've gotten more strict too, places where you can promote your sex work, as well as Twitter or X,
Well,
whatever it's
why
called
did you
now.
go to Twitch? Or are you on Twitch? I don't know.
I used to go on Twitch,
You don't
like
have your
literally
own
once a
channel on
week.
Twitch.
Yeah, I do, but I would
Oh,
only use it. So what I do is I'd go live on my OnlyFans every Monday, but I also would want to talk about like psychology or philosophy or any of the things I was interested in. And I did curate an audience that liked that stuff because part of the reason they were attracted to me is because of my intelligence. So not saying I'm like crazy smart, but you know what I mean. So I would be like, okay, we're gonna do like an
wait, are
hour
you
on Twitch.
sure? Or is this one of those I get Playboy to read the articles?
No, no, I literally was like, okay, we would literally have like a book club or something, and then we would discuss that for like an hour. So that's
A
the only
book
reason I really
club.
used Twitch. We would talk about like the books I was reading, and we would like, engage. And that wasn't even really to make money. I just wanted to like interact with that group of fans that was really interested in the same stuff I was interested in. So I would use Twitch just to go live, and then I would go live straight on my OnlyFans after. So it was this really weird like duel where it's like you get an hour of like me talking, like titties kind of out, and then I'd go on my OnlyFans right after and like get naked. So it was like it was like my Monday fun day is what we would call it. So yeah, that
Okay.
was. I
All right.
haven't been on in a while either.
So
I
this
need to
is
though.
so I'm learning something. I didn't know that part where it takes about 3 days for you to reply to all your offense, and if they don't get the instant gratification, they just unsub. Is that what you're?
They don't unsub, but like usually when someone, especially like when you think about like someone's horny and they get on your page,
Right,
they want
right.
the content now, and then if they're like in a few hours they check, and then in a few hours they check, and the next day they check, and you're not responding, then I'm not saying they unsub, but you're probably missing out on at least some opportunities by
Yeah,
doing that.
because
And then the shitty part is if you like go on a trip or something, they just stack up, and now I can't even get to it all in one day. So yeah, it can be a lot, but I still
yeah,
rather run my
you
page that way.
can't. Even if you go on a vacation, you really can't, can you?
No, no,
Yeah,
you can't take like a full day off. Like it's just you cannot like you can take parts of the day off, but you can't just not log into OnlyFans for a day. Or you can, but then your money goes down. Like it's just like you don't get much of a break.
yeah. Good gosh. So I forgot what the other question is going to ask you. So when you all right, this is what I wanted to say. So yeah, I I was having this conversation with a young lady, and I was telling her like, you understand how, because she has an OF, she's also a stripper, and I was telling her, I said, you understand, because she was, this guy was very horny and he was telling her everything. And I said, you understand, you can't take a man, you should, if you coming from that arena, you should understand that when a man is hard, he'll say anything. He ready for that instant gratification. And
Yeah.
once that's over, if he gets it somewhere else or he climax, he's back to normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It's
you,
post-nut clarity, right? Or like think of it as like if you're hungry and this restaurant isn't giving you food, you're gonna go to and you're gonna be full. You're not you might come back here later, but if this place just won't, it's days,
right, right,
sometimes
right,
that can, yeah.
right, right. So when they don't get that instant gratification from you responding back, this is, I guess this is also a time for you to like upsell, where you like, hey, you
Yeah.
know, if you have some request and you make special videos or special photos or something like that for sale, correct?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I'll put out a video and people will know about it and they'll come on my page, but they weren't there when I mass sent it out, and they'll be like, "Hey, can I get this video?" And like sometimes it takes like a couple days. Which is still fine. Like I still do really great. A lot of people do, but like one of the selling points of these agencies is they say, "Oh, we have like 200 chatters like constantly, day and night, 24 hours responding to these people." And I'm just like, I'm a human being. Like I need to sleep for 8 hours. Like I can't do that, you know? So, but for me, it's important to do that. I also want to read the messages. I want to see what they say. I also like don't think, yeah, it's an ethics thing. Like people share private information and people are paying to speak to you. And I think that these are people who are willing to support you. They're on there to support you. And these are not people I want to fuck over.
Right, right. Wow, I'm listening to this, and it is a whole lot of work. I don't envy you. I mean,
I
because
mean,
seriously, because me coming from the pro dom world, but then again, what you're doing is online. What we did was in person, and of course it's two different type of things in the industry. But I have to admit, like your work is a whole lot of work, a whole lot of work to to where it's different for what I was doing in pro domination. But still, like, what do you ever find yourself mentoring any young girls who come into this and not? And the reason I'm asking this is because I notice a lot of young women that are getting into this. They're a little lazy,
yeah.
and they just think that they could just do it like what, once a week or something like that, and then because I
And they
see
expect to
some
see
women
money right
complaining about it.
away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll see that. You'll see. Sorry, I interrupted you. You'll see like 18, whatever year olds that are like, "Oh my God, I want to be like you," and they want to just make money right away with like the littlest amount of work. And so I always just tell these girls, well, first of all, make sure you have the temperament for it
Right.
because you're gonna get a lot of hate,
A
and if you're really
lot of
sensitive.
hate.
Yeah, if you're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm perfect for this. Like, I just read hate comments and I'm like just eating chips. Like, okay, like I don't care. But not
Yeah.
everybody's like that. So that's one thing I always say. I always try to warn those, especially younger girls, like, hey, this could have impacts on future, career options for you. And so be wary of that. And I also, when girls are like, oh, I want to do it, but I want to do it secretly and I don't want anyone to ever, I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna risk that. There's no way to not risk that. You have to go into it assuming that people are gonna see it. So I tell them that, and then I also say consistency. Like so many girls like do it and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna take 2 months off. Like, no, you're gonna that's not how it works. You have to
Two
be
months
consistent.
off.
Yeah, they do. Oh, I had a mental health week. Okay, cool. But
A
like this
mental
is a
health
job.
week?
I've heard girls say that. Oh, I needed a mental health week. I'm like, okay, like I'm not saying
They
mental
must
health
hate
isn't important,
money.
but you also have to build up to be able to have that week because like if you're starting, that's when you really got to put in work in. And like for instance, Reddit, I have posted every other day on Reddit since 2021 without exception. Like there are days where I'd be
Wow.
late and I would post the next morning, and now I have an assistant that can help me a little bit with that, but I still got to get the links and the content ready. And that's how I funnel. Like I get anxiety if I take that time off. So maybe my lawyer background, because I had such rigid academic deadlines or whatever, like I know how to work hard when I need to, even though I'm also really lazy. So I always just think it's better than being in an office. Like at least I can do this in bed and I don't have to hit snooze. I could do this later. Like, so that's how I keep it going.
All right. So now, remember, I was going to ask you. I told you I was going to ask you this question backstage. I'm going to ask it now because I'm so eager to learn to know the answer to this. So I was listening to you give an interview, and you were saying you have this one guy who you were already sexually active with, and you decided to bring him into your content. Well, first of all, how did so he was just a hookup that it was constant hookup, like there was no emotions or nothing ever, and then you just brought him into your OF world.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where I like certain things about him, and I was like, oh, he's more artsy, and I'm more like analytical, so I like engaging with people who have very different brains than me. But I was like, I don't think this is someone I could ever like develop feelings for because he just I like talking, and he doesn't. He's very quiet, so I was like, this isn't like my type for somebody that I would get feelings for. So yeah, it was just like and I don't have a lot of like like that was the most casual sexual relationship I'd ever had.
Right.
So I still don't do scenes. I don't really do collabs. I am starting to do more girl on girl stuff,
Okay.
which is new for me. But yeah, so, and he has a job where he's like moving around a lot and he's really busy. So it kind of worked out because I could have fun because we could like meet somewhere and travel together, whatever, and also get this content out of it. But yeah, now that like I feel like I'm one of those people that when I'm having sex, like I'm more horny, and when I'm not, like if I haven't had sex for a few months, then I'm not. But because
no way,
that's how I am.
Girl,
like,
you lying?
No,
you lying.
I have a closer like memory to like get like what I mean. Like my pussy will like be so content for like a weekend, and then like next week on like Wednesday I'll wake up and my pussy's like, what happened? Like we were having so much fun last week.
Oh my god. Hold on, let me repeat back to you. You're saying that when you have sex, you're having sex, but when it's not, you're like, oh well, it's another Monday or Tuesday.
No. Not saying that it never happens, like I never, but it's less so. I feel like my body, when we're actually doing it, when we're in the stage that we're doing it, and there's a person I actually want to do it with that I can think about, I want it more than if it's like I've gone like a year, 6 months, etc. without it, and during that time,
girl.
That doesn't mean I don't please myself.
Okay,
so I'm still getting off.
Girl, ain't nothing like the hot beef injection.
I
sorry.
agree.
Right?
There is nothing like
not
it.
gonna lie
But
to you.
at the same time, when you're feeling like that and you're like, there's no one you want to do it with, like it doesn't become as exciting.
Yeah, that's no. I agree. That's why I was thinking like you would have more than just that one person.
Yeah, I have a very. Do you know what sociosexuality is?
No.
Sociosexuality is, I guess, how willing you are, or the desire you have to be in casual sexual relationships. And I have a very like restricted one. I need like some type of emotional or mental connection to have a sexual desire for a person. So because of that, like if I don't have that with anybody, like I don't have the desire to sleep with anybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So because of that, like, and I have friends that are the opposite. They'll just see like a hot guy and they're like, push your dick in me. Like, I don't have that. Like, I never see somebody or like even talk to somebody just for a few minutes or even a few dates and be like,
I totally get that. I totally get that. Because like when you get that guy, and we call him like a fuck buddy, right? It's like you start off as friends, and then like all of a sudden it went into the bedroom, and like this was pretty fun, but there's no emotion there. Well,
yeah,
you remind me of myself with the whole not falling in love, not being emotionally attached to someone that you're just having fun with sexually. Do you find that that's something that's rare? Because for you is when I say rare, like, do you find other women don't have that ability to do that? Like what you're doing as far as
like do something and not catch feelings?
Yeah.
A lot of women are, and I would say like
really?
I feel like most women don't actually enjoy. There are some women. There's a percentage of women that have a pretty unrestricted sociosexual orientation, but a lot of women, especially if you compare to men, don't actually enjoy like casual, like one night stands. For instance, they report lower sexual gratification in one night stands versus having sex with a partner.
No. I agree. I'm against one night stands. I don't.
Me
they're
too.
dangerous. Okay, for women. All right. Because you don't know that person, all right?
Yeah.
And you're put in a vulnerable state. So I am actually against one night stand. But like when you're getting to know someone, and like it gets to the point where you're just good friends, and then all of a sudden you just go that sexual route. like you don't fall in love and you don't catch feelings with that friend. I
Yeah,
notice
that's
a
true.
lot of women catch feelings and then all of a sudden they force the guy into a relationship, or it's like they assume that they're in a relationship, and so when the other guy goes with another woman, they're upset.
Yeah, and this is my first time having, I think, sex with, not that like I started a relationship with every single one, but
Right.
like every other person I pretty much had sex with, except for maybe one other, we were in like a relationship. But honestly, I think with this guy, like I just can't like him because he just doesn't have the intellect that I need. I'm very attracted to very like smart people. So I don't find myself like, I just don't care when he's like, if he like meets other women, like I don't like, that's, I just don't have that feeling for him. Now this is the only time this has happened, so I'm clearly
Oh,
capable of it,
okay.
but I don't,
Okay.
yeah, this isn't like a pattern for me. Like
Really?
my, yeah, most of my sexual partners, we were in a relationship and I did have feelings for
So
them.
you
And it's
loved
not to
them
say
in
I
the
have
past.
no feelings for this guy, that's not to say that, but it's just that long-term relationship wise, like he's just not what I'm looking for. So it's easy for me to be able to separate the two.
Does he get any money?
No.
Girl, that's what I'm talking about, girl. You better work that shit. I'm talking about. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, hold on. Hold on, girl. Listen to me, girl. Okay? Because I'm alpha, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was having an argument with someone, and she had her boyfriend in her OnlyFans content. And she gave him 50 cents, and I called her stupid. I called her stupid ass bitch. I said, you're a dumb ass. She was like,
50
well,
cents or 50%?
he's part of the content. I was like, it's your OnlyFans. I said,
Yeah.
the
Wait, 50
punani is
cents
the
or
freaking payment.
50%? Did you say 50 cents or 50%?
50%.
Okay,
50%.
yeah. Yeah, I was like, what? Oh yeah, no, no, absolutely not. I told him, I was like, well, he never brought it up. But I think one time he didn't really like ask, but he was just like, he mentioned something. I was like, you get to have sex with me. Like,
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's what girl, I'm telling you, it's so
and then he
rare
was
to
like,
see alpha.
imagine if it was reversed. And I was like, what are you, red pills? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, he's like, imagine if I said that. Like, imagine if I said, like, oh, he's just like, all like, you know, back when women had less power and men were like, oh, we're just not going to pay you because you get to have sex. I'm
Right.
like, well, sorry. Like, you get to. I'm sorry.
It I'm just you I'm just saying, I'm actually just I feel great because it's like I as you know, I'm alpha, I'm pretty dominant. And I don't have like when it I would be an excellent madam. I'm telling you. I would be an excellent
I feel like
madam.
I would be too. I'm pretty like headstrong, independent. I'm like, get away from me, all managers. Get away from me, all agencies. Get away from me, any man that wants to come in and get a cut. It's my OnlyFans.
Right.
Nobody's even
Right.
getting the password. No one's getting it. Nothing.
Nothing.
So yeah, to me, it's common sense. Now I don't judge girls who like want to do that,
I
especially
don't
if it's with
either,
a
but
partner. Yeah.
I will give them the side eye like you have no idea your power. You have no idea you're giving away your power. You have no idea how powerful you are, and that you don't like. There's so many men out there who convince these girls that they can actually help them, and they take
Yeah.
a good percentage of them, and nothing happens. But the content even gets worse, and it's
Oh,
like they're pimping them
all the
out.
time, all the time.
Yeah,
When this is one of the only industries where women outperform men, and
right.
so men come in and they convince a bunch of women that, oh, you need me, and I'm like, need you for what? Whose titties are on, like, you're not posting your, like,
Exactly.
you don't need a middleman to post your titties on, like,
Right.
I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
understand,
No.
but
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right.
all of these like men, and it's always men in these agencies, managers, whatever, and they just come in and they're like, oh no, like you can't do this by yourself, like and it's like, no, but this isn't street, like this is the whole point of OnlyFans was that you do it yourself.
Right.
It's like you take a picture of your titties before you get in the shower and you post it. Why does someone need to come in and
Right.
manage you and take 50%? That's a partnership. That's
Yeah,
not.
it is. And I think it's so stupid. And I'm sitting
Yeah, I
myself.
agree.
I'm like, dude. First of all, and let me know if you agree with this. Because I believe that a lot of hate that comes for women like you, as well as anyone in OFs, is because you're doing it because of money. And it's freedom. All right. Whereas they would do it strictly for sexual gratification. And because they're not getting any on a regular, you know what I'm saying? It's that anger that they're projecting upon you ladies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can go into many different facets with that. But yeah, and you didn't hear as many like men have this, oh my God, porn is so bad craze when it was mainstream porn in
Right.
studios. But as soon as women started being like, actually, you need to pay to, like, they feel entitled to it. They're like, how dare you? You have this thing that I desire and you're putting it behind a paywall and blah, blah, like they don't like that.
Right. How do you deal? Okay, so let's talk about like, because I looked at, first of all, you're everywhere. So when I was looking to get an interview, like I said, I'm not really interested in your debates, because a lot of the men, from what I've seen, and I'm only watching from a couple, especially on the Fresh and Fit, it looked like it was just, let's attack this, this 304 because she got these big old bitties, you know what I'm saying, and she's attractive and you're exotic looking. So it looks bullying to me, and I don't like that. But I will have to ask, like, when you got kicked off of Fresh and Fit the first time, how much money did you make, girl, afterwards? Like,
Oh
how
my
many?
God. Fresh and Fit, there's no one that does more for OnlyFans women than Fresh and Fit. Myron, one of the hosts, wrote a book, Why Women Deserve Less. You are the number one, you have helped sex workers more than anybody, I think, in the world. You have given us the world. Every time I come on your show, my money goes way up. And then he kicked me off, and then he invited me back on. So I
You
don't
should
know.
have got kicked. No, no, no. Hold on. Can I tell you from a third person eye of view? And I was
Yeah.
sitting with my brother-in-law. Right. By the way, he joined you when he saw this because I said let's see what we see, because I wanted to see what a person would do when you got kicked off. So we looked at you get kicked. This is my second time watching you, and it looked like they were bullying. This is me like saying it. They're bullying her. So I guess the men would be like, "That's not nice. They shouldn't bully her. I'm going to join her OF because I want her to show her that
Mm,
all men are not like that." And
no,
then
that's not what happens. What happens is they hate themselves because they're incel losers, a lot their audience, and they see you and they're attracted to you, and then they can't help it because they want to see more, and they're actually secret simps, but they hate themselves for being simps. So then they subscribe to your OnlyFans and hate themselves for it. So then they go back on Fresh and Fit and watch women get bullied to kind of make themselves feel better. At least with that audience, that's what I noticed.
that's how that works.
That's how that works. Yeah, most of the time. Like, you'll see some people that like hate watch Fresh and Fit, and they're like, "Oh my God, you like I loved you on there and I joined." But a lot of them are still red pilled. Like, I call them like my red pilled sims. They will they agree with the message. They think I'm a 304. They think I'm a whore, but they still fucking want to see the titties. So they go and that's how we make money. Is these men, the reason they enjoy watching women get bullied is because they have a complex with women and sexuality where they want us, but they don't want us. So they hate themselves for it. So they watch this shit to kind of make themselves feel better. Like, you're a whore and I can't help paying for it though. Like, that's how that goes.
Okay, because when they voted, you know what, you would know.
Voted, yeah.
Because when Myron, who's a homosexual, by the way, when when he was like, "I'm gonna let the chat vote. I'm gonna let the chat vote this that," and you were just sitting there. I guess because I am type of person that like to defend women who are being bullied,
Yeah.
and it's like you were just calmly sitting there, and you didn't get mad, you didn't get angry, you just got up and walk out and everything like that. And I said, "Yo, she's gonna get a lot of guys because they're gonna be like, don't you treat her that way. I'm gonna treat." So I guess.
Well, when he brought me back on the third time, he said, "Oh, well, you guys wanted her off last time, but then I got a bunch of complaints." And the reason for that is, you could tell I'm not loud, I'm not rude. I was giving you statistics, and my statistics are accurate. And
very accurate.
They were deleting it in the chat whenever someone posted it. I was like, you look stupid for kicking me off for a statistic that even your low IQ audience can Google in 2 seconds. I said that. I'm like, he's like, the chat says it's wrong. Like one comment, I was like, don't listen to your illiterate chat. Like you have this whole studio, you don't know how to use Google. Just put age gap divorce rates or college education. Like these were really basic stats. Like I know these people aren't like, intellectual gods. I wasn't going into hardcore statistics. I was like, these are very Googleable things. So I didn't care about getting kicked off for that because it was so clearly right. And even like their own fans that hated me, like they'd be like, this OnlyFans semen slurper is such a bitch, but she's right on. Like, you know what I mean? So I think he knew how bad it looked, which is why he asked me to come back on. Because
why did he kick you off the third time?
He didn't kick me off the third time. He only kicked me off once.
No.
He didn't kick me off the third time, I think because he knew how dumb he looked the second time. And also the third time, it was a debate with, do you know who Rollo and Michael Sartini
Grandma Rollo
like,
Tomasi, yes. The old man who thinks he's so relevant and thinks he's so sexy, but it's just so, he looked like an old lesbian.
He looks like a, old pirate. Like, it looks even worse in person. So
I know.
So, yeah. So they were doing like a episode where it was like the red pill versus like people like me. So they had like Rollo, him, and some other guy I don't even know, and they were doing like a debate stream. And so that time, I think Myron realized like he has to contend with my points. So he tried. He brought in his goons, and they really tried. And
But Rollo is an idiot. He's like a low IQ monkey.
I literally could not believe it. Like I would. This is your job. You've written 5 books on this, and I would give him the most basic stat, and he would just
but his books are stupid. I read his book, and I'm gonna do a review. It's like I lost IQ points reading his book.
I was so shocked. I would say the most basic thing, like, oh, here's the, and then he would get on his phone and like scroll, and I'm like, you don't know this? Like why do I know your job better than you? Like literally, if you watch that episode, it's Michael and Rollo. Like I would be like, yeah, this is how age gaps affect divorce rates, and they would pull out their phone in unison, and then they would just like looking for, and they're like, yeah, she's right, but then they're looking for any information to like debunk what I'm saying, and I'm like, I don't understand how I'm like, and I think a lot of these red pill shows have been able to get as popular as they are because you won't have a lot of people who are able to combat the rhetoric go on.
Right.
Like Destiny's one of the only ones, and then a lot of the women they bring on aren't equipped to do this. And
because they're young and they intoxicated.
I don't blame them.
And they have other things to do, like make money besides. Yeah,
and they're going on to make money. Like, the deal the unspoken deal that we have with these shows is you guys get on, roast us, whatever. Your weird fans pay like $200 super chats to tell us we're all ugly, whatever, and then we make way more money after. Like that's kind of like the unspoken money. That's kind of like why a lot of them do it. But I was like, wait a minute. So when I never watched these shows before, but I saw so many OnlyFans girls go on it, so I like looked it up and I watched it. I was like, oh well, this shit is fucking retarded. Like I should go in there and tell them that like this is like not how any of this works. Like this is literally like 7th grade shit sometimes. So then I did, and then that's how I kind of started getting more exposure on these platforms, just because there wasn't a lot of other women doing it. And I'm very much like you, where I hate when like they're bullying some like sweet nice girl, and so I'm gonna come in and be like, pick on someone your own size. So I will take on all 4 of you, Rollo, Michael, whatever, and I still fucking drag the floor with you guys because you guys don't know how to do your job because nobody challenges you. Because especially as like my background in academia, anytime I was writing anything persuasive, I was writing emotion, I had to know the best arguments against my case. I had to know any facts that were disfavorable to me. These guys, like, you'll say the most basic thing, it's like the first time they've heard it, and they're like, oh shit, and they'll
because they surround themselves with it's an echo chamber, and they always surround themselves with young girls who just don't know. They're not good at debating. They don't know these topics, and also like these questions are caught off guard. So they, especially the whole thing like, oh, women benefit the most by getting a divorce, which is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life.
2-second Google search: women fare off far worse financially after divorce than men do. Way more likely to be in poverty, seek government assistance, less likely to be repartnered. And they're like, no, women just all leave men because they think they can upgrade to a Chad. I'm like, it's like ridiculous,
right?
The stuff they say, and so far from reality. But because they have this echo chamber, this audience, and you can tell when I go on, they're like, she's ruining the quality of the show, which basically means we want to see women get shitted on. She's not letting that happen, and now the quality of the show is.
But this is a thing. I'm kind of torn because, believe it or not, when I learned that a lot of women So I'm torn because, well, not anymore. I'm on you guys' team. I want you to make that bag as much money as you can from these freaking simps and incels on these platforms. But and at first I did not know that you all were. It was that agreement that, or it was that arrangement where these men were just going to like really like influx your OnlyFans and like give you like a lot, like you was gonna make a lot of money. I thought that they were just. I was like, these stupid women are coming up on there and just getting bullied. But it wasn't until Michael Satane, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I saw a clip where he had 5 girls from on OnlyFans, and they showed their OnlyFans account before they went on the show, and then they showed it the day after they went on the show, and then 2 days after they went on the show.
Yeah.
It's like they improved their money 60%. Like,
yeah. There's been times I want to say, like, just for one appearance, probably 15 grand. Like, that's worth.
Oh my God!
Especially because I talk. So this is what I do. And I don't mean to do this, but I talk the whole time because a lot of the, like, you know, they'll say something. I'm like, no, you're wrong. And then we'll just go back and forth. So all of the clips they get out of that 4 hours is like all me. So I get a shit ton of traction every single time I go on, which is even when they sometimes they like cold message girls. And even in the message, they say, here's the benefit to you. You'll get more Instagram subscribers. We'll promote you. But then they get on the show and they're like, oh, like Myron said, you're just a clout chaser. You're just here to grow your OnlyFans. Yeah, why else would I be here?
Listen,
I just want to fucking discuss relationship dynamics with your dumbass.
Exactly.
This is not what I want to do. Who do you think you are? You're not inviting me to like a panel at the United. Like, you think this is an honor to be here? I'm not the United Nations giving it. Like, I'm here on fucking Fresh and Fit. Like, all of my lawyer friends are like, what the fuck is this? Like, this, it's like not like, of course I'm here to make money.
But they don't realize these platforms, whatever podcast, Fresh and Fit, they all benefit because of women. They would be, nobody would want to come there if it was just a bunch of guys. Someone's like, yo, 304's a stupid.
Yeah.
Nobody would to
whenever I go on, like now, the entire chat is about, every comment is about me. I bring the views, I bring them money, and you guys bring me money. So then don't go on air and be like, they're trying to use us for clout. You're trying to use me for clout too.
Right.
Like, you're trying, you know what I mean? So I call them out on that, you know, or the last time I went on, the chat was like, oh, the castle right away, and which means kick off. And then Myron is like, oh, and I was like, you invited me back on, and you could just see his face, like, why did you say that? I'm like, of course I wouldn't say that. Why would I make myself look stupid on your show to help you? Yeah, you asked for me back on. You actually had Icy track me down, and she told me I was the first name out of your mouth to come on tonight. So I'm gonna tell all your fans. And then it was funny because on their subreddit, people were like, she said that. I don't think she was supposed to say that. Like, oh my God, what happened to Myron? We don't want her back on. He's lying. None of us wanted her back on. He wanted her back on. He likes her titties. Because he did slide into my DMs, and the second time when he kicked me off, I outed him. I put it on Instagram because he was like, oh, like something about let's going to dinner, and then even his chat was like, why would he want to go? I'm like, you called me annoying and masculine for 4 hours, but you're such a high value man.
Masculine.
You have no other. Yeah, they call women like us masculine because I guess we speak. But
oh my God.
But,
I guess we would be masculine to a bitch ass man like Myron. Yeah. Because he's a homosexual, sure. By the way. I just want y'all to keep
yeah. So I was like, and so his own fans were like, you know, why is he inviting these 304s? I'm like, if he was so high value, he wouldn't have to resort to a woman that was so annoying and then want to take me to dinner. And he was like, no, I don't split checks, like blah, blah, blah. And I just put it out. And it was like a whole thing. His fans were like, "Oh, well, like he just wanted to fuck," and people were like, "Yeah, but he should just ask her to come over. Why would he take her to dinner?" Well, like just going in. And I was like, "Yeah," because when he kicked me off the second time, I also DM'd him back, and I was like, "Here are the sources for my stats. Maybe you should learn to do some research instead of trying to link." And I, and so I was like, "Oh, this bridge is completely burned." But then he invited me back on, so I was like, all right, like
yeah.
Mutual benefit for me.
Yeah, he knows where his bread and butter is coming from, especially from a man who always talking about women is emotional. When he cried 4 times. I'm not being hyperbolic here. 4 times when he got demonetized. 4 damn
So
times.
funny, I know.
I was demonetized once. I got remonetized on my political channel. I gave you my link to my political channel.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have you come on and just talk politics. That's it.
Course.
But I got demonetized. Girl, I took it on the chin. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna keep it moving. I didn't cry, girl. I didn't cry. Okay. I did not talk about how children and you know, saving lives and all the other stuff. I didn't do any of that. So who's the emotional
he's very
one now?
emotional. I mean, like, a lot of their arguments are made out of emotion. So that's why I'm like, okay, where's the evidence? It's just, I'm like, are you going based on your feelings? And that triggers them because they always say, we go based off our feelings. I'm like, this sounds like you're literally just going based on your feelings. And my psychoanalysis on people like Myron, not Fresh. Fresh is like, I think actually has like a cognitive deficiency.
Yeah.
But Myron, I think, so his whole thing is he likes power and control.
Right.
So when he says, oh, go for these young women who don't speak, who are like 19, who you don't live with, it's because those are kind of women you can't fall in love with, which is why he always says, like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't. But he actually likes to argue. And I think he has a attraction to people who can go toe to toe with him. But he doesn't like women like that because he relinquishes his power, because you actually end up liking those women. Women like us, people like us. Like, I know they pretend they don't, but they do. So what they tell men to do is they're like, go find women from like another country who like don't speak English, who like don't do anything, because you're gonna have that power and control over them. Versus women who
how's that going for them in
money.
Colombia right now?
Yeah. Exactly. Finding someone who wants their rent paid and they're like, see, this is great because these aren't the kind of people you could actually have feelings for, because they can't have a fucking conversation. So I think, but women like me, I think these men, like someone like Myron, knows that he could actually like, and he can't have that. Like he said, oh, you can't fall in love with a woman, you know, so. That's what I think. I think that these like men like that, they go specifically for women. Like you hear Andrew Tate say this too. Oh yeah, all women are talking about their star signs. What?
So
no
what?
woman I know is talking about their star signs. Like I don't fucking like nobody I know. I'm not gonna sit there and talk about my Capricorn, whatever. It's because these are the only kind of women that are impressed by you. So these are the only kind of women that are gonna hang out with you because it's a selection bias. And then you're telling, oh, this is what women are like. They're all like this because it's like I don't want to hang out with men like you. You probably don't want to hang out with women like me because you want the power, and I just am like grossed out by you. So it just that's how it goes.
Okay,
that's what I think.
I gotta ask, how many marriage proposals do you get a week?
I get a lot, and what I get really annoyed on is so many people use my image because I'm from another, like, you know, I'm Middle Eastern, and they use it and they scam other men into thinking that like I'm gonna marry them and I need a visa into the United States and I'm gonna cook and clean for them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, listen, use my picture all you want, just don't pretend I'm gonna cook and clean for some other. Like that's the only thing I don't.
Wait. How do you stop? You can't stop that, can you?
No, I can't. So someone will like message me the profile, be like, this person scammed me pretending to be you, or did you? And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. If you were dumb enough to fall, like, I feel bad. Be careful. I'll try to do what I can to get the profile, but I can't stop that. So that happens quite a bit, and men will fall for it.
Why are you may not even know the answer to this? Why are men more likely to and overwhelmingly more likely to fall for catfishing than women?
I don't. That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Because I see way more. I see way more men fall for catfishing. They don't even like. They don't even try to get the person to show up on Snapchat or to get a video or to talk to them to see if they're, you know, a woman or a man or whatever. And it's like, I don't know if they fall in love with the fantasy.
I think so. I think part of it is that. I think part of it is that they're so not used to anyone showing them attention or intimacy or like anything. And these women, obviously, to like bait them, are giving them a lot of attention, etc. So they're really like flustered. Like it's kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and you have your first crush and you're like, and so they're just like, okay, here's my money. You know, I don't think that they're fully thinking clearly. Like you said, I think when men are in this mode, which is why even like on OnlyFans, like they'll spend a bunch of money in that time and then they'll be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have spent that. And I try to put like limits on how much people can spend for that reason at a
Oh,
time.
cool.
But that's something just I do. Most people don't do that. So I think that's part of it. There is a thing called Chad fishing where like incels will do now. Will make a dating profile and they'll put like a really hot guy and they'll see like a lot of women will match with them. But the difference is women aren't going to like send you money and like
Right.
and all that shit.
Right,
So.
and you gotta meet them if you're trying to like get inside. So it's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and once they look at you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I know a particular person who like the catfish in his image. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But anyway, so I know men always are asking you, what are you gonna do with your life when you're ready to get married and get ready to get kids? And what is your response? Because I know a lot of them are like shaming you, like saying, "Oh yeah, what if you want to get kids one day and no husband is gonna?" And that's why I sent you a link to the. I sent you the link to that guy. By the way, I think I told you this off hand. The guy had his blue check taken away, and because when you subscribe to Twitter Blue, you get money for your tweets, because I get paid for my tweets, right? So with that 2.3, I think it was 2.3 or 2.8 million, he would have got a cool 1,000 easily, right? And so he doesn't get any of that money. By the way, he's been crying about it for all this week. But they're shaming. I thought it was so tasteless and barbaric to shame a woman who used to do corn, and she got out of it, and she had the little girl was so adorable.
Yeah.
So they talked about her husband, you know what I'm saying, and then still shamed her. She could never win. And I think what's happening right now is that women are getting pissed off. They're tired of men on both sides shaming us and not allowing us to do our own thing. And I know, especially with you working for OF, and you're exotic looking, very beautiful, you know what I'm saying? I know men that are angry, that have to use their right hand to pleasure themselves, are going to project onto you saying, you're going to die alone. You're not gonna, nobody's going to want you. What is your thought and your response to that?
So what's happening here is that usually how society gets people to behave or follow the, status quo is either through laws or through negative social sanctions, right? So the narrative, enforce negative social sanctions, is like, oh, women aren't supposed to do sex work. And so the only way that can be something that they say is that there has to be some kind of consequence at the other end. That's the only thing it's almost like a revenge fantasy that they have. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do this. And there's been studies on this too. I can link them to you, that the more men perceive their mate value as being low, the more they hold misogynistic attitudes, right? It's like the group of friends that you want to hang out with, but they won't hang out with you, or the group and at school, you're like, well, fuck them. I don't like them anyway. They're probably unhappy. So what they have to do to like cope is be like, okay, these girls seem fine. They're making a lot of money. But they have to be miserable somehow. That's the way that they can square the narrative in their head. They're like, well, down the line, you're going to be sad. You're going to be with all your cats. No one's going to love you, blah, 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 blah. They tell themselves that because it helps them, because they're miserable now. Misery needs company. And if they say things like, if they believe things like, no, she can actually get away with this, that really bothers them. And even some women feel that way too, right? It's like if you get somewhere the easy way, and someone gets somewhere what they perceive to be not the easy way, they have to tell themselves that the shoe is gonna, the shoe's gonna drop on the other foot, or like that somehow you're not happy here, that somehow you're deep down mentally disturbed, that no one's gonna love you, blah, 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 because otherwise there's no reason not to do it, right? There's no way to enforce that social norm onto us women without saying that we're gonna face consequences down the line. So that's really what's happening here. And then for the men, they have like this, like a revenge fantasy. Like, okay, I can't have you now and you're thriving, but you just wait, right? And then they do like all these kind of fallacies. They'll be like, no man's gonna like you. And then you see they do the no true Scotsman. No real man is gonna be with a sex worker. No, this man is gonna be with a sex worker. No man you actually respect. No high value. Like it just becomes, it keeps going and going and going, because they no longer can say no man because they're seeing us and they're like, oh, okay, well, he must suck. He must be a loser. He must be a simp.
He's a loser. He's a simp. He's just
no real man would do this, etc. So it's just cope to make them feel better. And I always say, like, stop for a second. This is usually my response. Think about what if you're wrong, and think about what if I go on with the rest of my life and I'm super rich and I get married and I'm happy. Does that bother you? And if it bothers you, think about why, and that's the root of your problem.
Oh, good one.
Because if you stop and you think like, okay, what if none of this happens? What if she doesn't end up miserable? What if she, and that bothers you? That's your issue.
I would love those links. As a matter of fact, I would love to get a lot of links that I've seen you use, and because I to defend against a lot of the red pill points and everything like that. That's something I did not know. I would, because I on my Twitter today, because I was showing my Twitter, and I never thought my Twitter would turn this way. My Twitter started off political, strictly right wing, because I'm a right winger, right? Yeah. I never thought I would get into the position where my Twitter has now gotten popular by me defending women fighting against misogynistic men, because I like to fight, me too.
Yeah, that's why I'm in the comments, like,
I love it. I live for it. It gets me off a lot, you know what I'm saying? Then I go and take advantage of my husband, you know?
I'm the same way. We're very similar, it seems, because I'm exactly the same way. Like, it makes me literally excited to combat this rhetoric.
Yeah, so today, there on TikTok, I don't know if you've seen this, there's a woman, she's 60, I think she's 60 or 62 years old, and there's she's white, and then there's a black man, he's 27 or 30 something years old, I'm not sure, right? And so I found out they were married, but when I posted the video, I thought they were just dating. So I posted up and said, so what's that age? What is that about the women hitting the wall again?
Yeah, always.
And men got so angry because I said, yo, what's that about the wall again? Because here's this woman, by the way, she looked rough. I normally don't do it. She looked really rough.
Actually around, and they're... I mean, like, I'm not knocking however anyone looks, but for men who claim to be so high, like, what was that Donovan Sharp guy?
Yeah.
Is like, and then he marries like some woman.
She looked like she came out of the trailer park, honey.
I know. I'm like. And then they say things on these shows like, oh my God, look at what a simp a man like A$AP Rocky is with Rihanna. Like, I'm like, yeah, do you want to end up with Rihanna, or do you want to end up with one of the people like?
No. Do you want to end up with Rihanna, or do you want to end up with Devin, Donovan Sharp's wife?
That's basically what they're. I'm like, yeah, God forbid you end up with a woman like Rihanna instead of these, very unattractive women that they're because you have to understand, like, this is something I always say. God. When they tell me or women like me, oh, you're going to have heart because a lot of people aren't going to want to date sex workers. I'm like, do you think a lot of women want to date a man who spends 7 hours a week podcasting about how women are incompetent? Like, you don't think you're lowering you know how embarrassing that is? You're thinking about it's embarrassing to be walking around with a sex worker. Do you know how embarrassing it is as a woman? Do you think anyone wants to go to their friends or go to the hair salon and be like, you know who I'm fucking?
Right.
Myron from Fresh and the whole time.
Girl, stop like, that line. Ain't no woman going to ever say that, okay? So they know a man will say that, not no woman. Okay, stop the cap. Stop the cap. A man would be saying, I was fucking Myron Gaines because he's a homosexual.
Yeah, or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is not a flex to be fucking with y'all either. And it's funny because a lot of the retired like pickup artists like back then, they said they're the one that Myron, because the first page of his book is on Google. I didn't read the whole thing, and he quotes this guy, this this pickup artist King Bruce.
I know him. I know who that guy is because I read Myron's lame ass book too.
Yeah, and so he actually now is like, because he's trying to settle down with one of these high-value virgin conservative women, and none of them want anything to do with this guy. They're like, as soon as they Google him, they ghost him. Yep. The kind of women that they want, these conservative, they don't want men like this. And so they actually very much limit their own pool too to only women who like are just looking for money, their rent paid, whatever. They're not women that like, it's not like no one's proud to walk around with a guy who's a red pillar, who's
Absolutely.
a podcaster, and who all he does is talk shit about women. Like, it's
Right.
not masculine. Like,
That's
I'm
not.
like, podcasting is like the least masculine. Fucking go build a house or something. Okay, what are you
Right.
doing?
Well, Rolo was single now because his wife is no longer with him.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, a lot of these men are miserable, and
Yeah.
this is the reason why I like beating up on them. Like some of Rolo, a lot of them have me blocked. Myron doesn't have me blocked. Oh, and I want to make. Oh, you made a observation about Fresh Walter. I had a young lady. She was kicked off the show when they went to Columbia. Very nice girl, you know what I'm saying? She also she does the spiritual woo 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 thing on OF as well. She's
Okay.
just so cute. But me and her agreed that Walter is more, because I find Myron's actions more effeminate, like men who like to fight with women, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Walter, the fresh one, the dark one, does not have that mentality. He's a
Yeah.
little bit more reasonable. Still he still would piggyback off the Myron, but to me it's more, he's not that antagonistic against women. You know
And
what
I
I'm
can
saying?
tell you you're right, because all 3 times I was on, even the second time I was kicked off, they shut the show down like soon after, and I was waiting for my friend. Every time Fresh comes out, you can tell he just like puts on a show and he's nice to everyone. Oh, blah blah blah. Like, when you guys want to come out later? Like, he's smiling. He's Myron. I don't know if it's just when I'm on because he like hates me or he doesn't like a woman getting the best of him. Like, he was just in the elevator with us, and he's
That
like,
part. That part.
he's just like super emotional. He's like, oh, and then like will turn away and like just it seems agitated.
Yeah.
And emotional
He has a resentment towards women. You know what I'm saying?
who get the best, especially women who get the best of it
Right,
sometimes,
right,
like
right.
women like me. He
Right.
really, like, he just seemed pissed every time I was on. Afterwards, he like doesn't look at, he was just like very emotional, like a woman who's having like on her period having a fit. You know,
Yeah.
that's how he
Yeah, exactly.
Fresh has never acted like that. Like,
Right.
he's always cheery, jolly when he gets off the show, talks to everyone. So I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the most strangest request you ever had?
Oh my God, I get the craziest requests. And to me, like, the requests that really blow my mind is when men want me to do like a whole script, like I'm fucking Tarantino, and like have like 5, they're like, okay, I come in the room and then your brother-in-law, and then you see my dick and you're like, oh, I'm like, I'm one person. How am I supposed to be 5 people? Or they'll be like, oh yeah, we're on a ship. And I'm like, what's the ship supposed to be? My bed? Like, I don't know how to do this. So those ones are always crazy, like ones where they're like, okay, so I want you to be 2 Jazmens and you're both fighting over who's the real Jasmine, and the way you do it is you try to make whoever comes faster will be. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Split screen here? It's like what? How am I supposed to? So like those ones always kind of, I'm like, cool, but like I don't have the skill set for
Right. Okay.
or the directing skills. So yeah, I mean, probably stuff like that is the most, at least, like jarring for me, that you think I can do this. But yeah, I don't do as many requests anymore, just because I have way too many now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, yeah, I would do it. I would pretend to get stuck in my washer machine.
What?
Did that custom? Yep. There was one time where a guy wanted to pay me a lot of money to step on a bug with my bare feet. I was like, I can't.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So like, okay, and I don't kink shame, but
No, I mean, I
sometimes
get
I'm just
it.
like, this is too hard. This is too much. I'm not doing it.
Okay, last question, because by the way, I knew I was gonna have a good conversation with you. Like I said, hold on, no, I got 2 questions. So, remember when I was telling you? I don't know when I said this. I said something about what I do. I keep in contact with. Even though I'm retired, I still keep in contact with my dom friends. But see, when I was in the business in pro doming, I was friends with strippers, with concubines, with webcam. I mean, phone sex operators. You know what I'm saying? I knew one madam. So it's like I met so many different women, and it was like they're so different than vanilla women. I guess the only way I can put it out there. You know what I mean? And but I know that it was such a tight sisterhood that like we're to this day, and I've had these women in my life for like over 20 years. So it's like to this day we're still cool. But we saw each other in person. So sometimes, like a escort worker would like, hey, this guy wants you to come and, and cane him, but then he wants, you to force me to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then we will all go to lunch or dinner afterwards, and it's just that bond will get together. I guess you guys are online, so you don't get a chance to experience that, do you? Any type
Not
of sisterhood, do you?
Same way, because we are all online. But I will say that because, like, especially coming from the lawyer world, I've said this before, like, it seems like everything is in our favor. Everybody respects us. Like, all the rules are kind of working for us. And then you go do sex work and you're super marginalized. Everybody hates you. All the platforms want to kick you off. So you do develop like a sisterhood in a sense with these other girls. Like, there's forums where we give each other advice, where we do what we can. And like, there's been a couple girls that I've gotten super close to. Like, we met through there and then we did see each other in person. Like the girl that was sitting next to me on the Fresh and Fit episode I was kicked out on. And it is a really special,
okay.
Yeah, it's like she's one of my best friends now, and I agree because nobody else experiences what we experience, so nobody gets it unless you're doing it yourself. And like, every time I open my OnlyFans, I see her ass cheeks spread open, so it's like you just get really close. You get really close to these women because you're like, all right, we are seeing it, like everything, like we are, it's an experience that you can't fully understand, even though all my other friends are supportive. It's not the same thing as, when I'm walking somewhere and I'm like, oh, let me like pull a titty out and post it on Reddit. And my other friends are like, oh, okay, do it. Okay, do you want me to stay guard? Like, they'll be supportive. But like, my OnlyFans friends are like, yeah, I'm going to do that too. And it's like,
right.
So
and probably even help you what angle to do it in,
Yeah. Like, it's like you understand, and we're seeing like me and her, like we would be like, oh, I just got banned off TikTok again. Oh, I just got this. And then like once we were done for the day, it was like we were clocking out as strippers. All right, I'm done for the day. Putting my clothes on. Talk to you tomorrow. Like, you can build those kinds of relationships. So I don't think obviously they're as strong as yours because we don't have somewhere where we're all congregating.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still on TikTok or no?
I was banned so many times. I think I have my assistant running a few pages for me and just reposting my reels. But I used to use TikTok to go live, and I'd wear something sexy and then be like, you can join. You can go to my link in bio for the fun live. And it was a great way to funnel a lot of people over in a short period of time. She actually one time made I think 12,000 in a day because she was doing handstands, and it went like viral. She started getting a ton of things with like her like without wearing any underwear in a dress.
Yeah.
And then she got like banned. But like but so there's all types of things that women or people do, but TikTok really is probably the most strict platform when it comes to this. Okay. Yeah, because TikTok also relies, even when you're not doing anything wrong, TikTok relies heavily on user reports. So even if you're just sitting there and I'm sitting there talking like this because men hate us for existing, they'll be like, report. And then TikTok will take the live down. Even if they give you access back again, now you lost the momentum. Like, it's just really annoying. Yeah. So it's nice to have other women that can relate to this experience because unlike other content, to a degree, I'd say political commentators probably experience more. Like if you're selling lipstick or you're like, you're with Sephora doing like, you're not experiencing getting silenced or banned or kicked off platforms the way that sex workers are. Right. So because of that, it's nice to have someone that understands the experience.
Right. Okay. Last question. You are now blowing up on debates. I think if I'm going to ever watch a debate of yours all the way through, I think I'm going to watch the one with you sitting next to, that's my boo-boo right there, Destiny. That's my baby right there, with his little libtard self. But I think I would probably watch that one. What is the end goal with you, doing so many debates?
Yeah. First of all, funny story. When you told me in the email, like, you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm friends. So I was like, because I was like, oh, let me see, like, what kind of content. And so I put in, like, Tree of Logic, Destiny, and I clicked on a video from, like, 4 years ago. I went to the
when
middle,
we first got it.
And you were just like, you a bitch. I was like... I was like, they're friends. Like that was the only thing I saw. You went to the middle, and it was you screaming at him, and you were like, "Nah, cause you a bitch." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "This was 4 years ago, though." Sorry.
Listen, hold on. Let me tell you something. I've been trying to be that little libtard's friend for so long, and then we get to daggone do a debate, and he gets bad faith, and I just loop. By the way, that was so hilarious. Everybody can't believe that we are just so good friends now. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
adore him now. But it was
he's so great.
yeah, but
By
it's
the way,
like
that
people couldn't
debate,
believe we have come that far. But it's like Destiny doesn't hold a grudge, and my goal was to get him as a friend, so I let it go.
but
But I did feel bad for calling him a bitch
you guys were
ass.
having a really heated moment.
Yeah, I said you are. Remember the part that made me feel bad was like he was like, yeah, well, this the way you was talking to me. You was talking to me so mean in the emails. I said, cause you a bitch. You a bitch
Yeah,
ass motherfucker.
that's literally the first thing I saw, and I was like, "What did she say in her?" I was like, "Okay." But yeah, that debate that we did, the 2-on-2 was really hard, and obviously every debate you do about porn with religious conservatives goes into bestiality, child porn, incest. Like always, it just derailed. So it was really hard because all of us wanted to talk, and obviously Destiny's really great at debating, but with 4 people all trying to make different points, oh my god.
Okay, that's a good point. So out of all your debates, name me one that went so smoothly and it didn't derail, and it was like one of your best.
Well, I would say if you want to see something smooth and not just get frustrated the whole time, I'd say the last debate I did, which was on Modern Day Debate on Is OnlyFans Bad for Men? And it was me and a girl named Diddley against Alex and some other